I noticed something pretty big while playing Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I noticed that we know literally nothing about the Bite of 87, so I thought, why don't I solve that today? This video will be by far my most difficult theory to solve, and that's because we know literally nothing about the Bite of 87. We have about 2 phone calls and 1 thing in FNAF World, which I noticed was probably just an April Fool's thing. Sit back, grab your favourite fast snack, and enjoy. The first time that the Bite of 87 was mentioned was in Night 5 Phone Guys call. Now the first thing I should mention is that both Spring Bonnie and Fredbear are in this location, but they probably aren't the culprits considering they're probably deserviced and scooped out of all of their mechanical parts. Now theorists think that the top 3 most likely culprits are Toy Chica, Withered Foxy, and Mangle. Mangle being the most theorized, considering her stance when she jump scares you. The night before the Bite of 87, Phone Guys mentioned that someone broke in and leading to an accident. In real life, most robotics franchise, after incidents, they get all of their animatronics serviced. So there's no reason I would believe that the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise would do the exact same. So this means literally any character could have done it, but no way to size it down. If we look at most of the characters' jaws, it would be very difficult for their jaw to go around a kid's head. FNAF 2 takes place in 1987. Now, by using a chart made in 1987, we can know that the average width of a child's head was 5.5 inches. Can use the real life models of the toy animatronics to size the actual jaws of each and every one of them. Before we get to that, we must know that the average child's frontal lobe is about 1.16 inches. Starting off with Toy Chica, her beak is about 8.2 inches. Mangle's being a whopping 16 inches long. Withered Foxy's being 7 inches. We'll get back to that later, so remember that. In the interactive novel about Five Nights at Freddy's 1, we learn that Phone Guy's name is Ralph, and we also learn that the victim of the Bite of 87 can talk, couldn't move, couldn't do anything after the bite, but he lived. From the information from the book, it does seem like it was a closed event that happened, from Ralph saying that he had a big job in closing the rumors of the Bite of 87. And actually in the movie, there's not a single mention of the Bite of 87, but the only thing that did close the restaurant was Charlie's death. If it was an open event, that would 100% close the restaurant, meaning it most likely happened in the parts and service room when the resurfacing was happening for all of the animatronics, closed away from the public. And this still doesn't answer the question, who did it? Now, to break a human skull, you need about 1,000 pounds to actually crush it, but to hurt the insides, you only need about 500 pounds to actually damage the inside. In a MatPat theory, a while ago, he theorized that the animatronics use a pressurized air pump to move their jaw up and down. The average air pump produces about 600 psi, which translated into pounds is about 600 pounds. But very few animatronics have the right angle for a pressurized air pump. We'll come back to that in just a moment, but first I want to talk about the Withers. Something I thought that was really interesting with the Withers is the way they stand, specifically Withered Foxy and Withered Bonnie. The way they stand is their neck is turned sideways and they're limp. This would be the exact position that employees would put the animatronics in to change the servos and motors. Essential for a service. This would also be the position they'll put him in to change the endoskeleton's wiring and stuff to the pressurized air pumps. The only ones that could have this is Mangle and the Withers. The reason behind this is because Henry Emily changed his design when the FNAF 2 location came out. Of course, the Withers are scraps from the old location, so they pre-exist. I truly don't think Toy Chica did it just because she usually takes her beak off to kill people, and she just doesn't have the right angle to hit the frontal lobe with that said mouth. But someone completely like Withered Foxy or Mangle could 100% have done it. Now, the reason I don't think Mangle did it is because we don't have any proof of her being in the parts and service, or even just I don't think something like a jump scare animation is enough proof of her doing something that is really important. But someone like Withered Foxy, who is in the perfect position at the perfect time, and proof of him being there, and also having enough bite force to puncture and do permanent damage, is too convenient to be coincidence. But what about Jeremy? Jeremy is the one that actually got bit. I physically couldn't find any information about Jeremy. The only lead I found was about the Help Wanted 1, but he wouldn't be alive then because he would have been paralyzed. It also cannot be Mike because in the book it says that he was paralyzed. I've tried few different theories and none of them just really work. So I'm just assuming it was just a unlucky employee that got bit while doing a service for all the animatronics. I encourage you guys to find out who this Jeremy is. There's not really much information. Maybe you guys can do a bit more digging than I can, but I did do a lot of digging, so yeah. So the real question is, who did the bite of 87? Withered Foxy did. His mouth is big enough to cover the whole frontal lobe. His mouth is pressurized enough to do serious damage to the frontal lobe that could possibly paralyze someone. And the position that he is in while he's standing up in that Easter egg is the exact position they would be in for a service. And also, Withered Bonnie does it. It was literally in plain sight this entire time. I will be live streaming about 5 p.m. EST and 5 a.m. EST, sorry. So if you have any questions about this theory, come tune in. I'll be streaming on YouTube, so just go to my channel, put notifications on, so you get notified when I'm streaming next and when my next theories are out. Thank you for watching. Withered Foxy did the bite of 87.